All right, guys, welcome back to All Gains Mindset, where we talk about fitness, diet, dating, mindset, and we're going to go over the topic of masks and emotionalism. So, the reason we're doing this topic is because a healthy mindset can be easily disrupted by an over reliance on emotionalism, which seems to be what we live in today, right? Our society is much in a great capacity built on like a sense of emotionalism. It's like the feels before reels sort of generation, and especially in the times of like Corona and all the beer bug stuff, right? So like a lot of people take masks very seriously, and according to like CDC guidelines.
I mean that's fine. Like taking math seriously, like if you feel like it's it works and everything, like we're not judging you on that. We're not saying oh you're wrong. Like that's not what we're trying to say here. I feel like what Andrew's trying to get to is that people take it very seriously, but then and people don't take it seriously, right? And there are two extremes built upon emotionalism, where someone that cares too much about people wearing masks will go crazy on someone who's not wearing a mask, right? And then there are people who don't want to wear a mask that go crazy on people who are being asked to wear a mask, and they end up shooting someone, which is the most extreme thing, which has happened before in other states across the U.S. And I feel like having emotionalism in itself is very it's not good. It's not good on either side. Wearing a mask, not wearing a mask, you can be logical about it, and you can have conversations, logical, reasonable conversations with people, and be respectful to each other, but you don't need to, go crazy on each other, trying to kill each other or beat each other up because, someone is telling you to wear a mask, or, it's because someone is not wearing a mask and you think that they should. It's just a matter of getting the point across of being logical, using reason before emotion.
Yeah, and it's like you've heard the stories of people that will go into like a grocery store. You probably see it on like Twitter or Facebook or something. They'll go into like a grocery store without a mask, which they should not be doing, because technically a business should be able to decide what they want for their customers. If it's not mandated by the state, each business should be able to have like their say in which, if they allow their customers to go in or not. So you'll see those videos of like people going in the stores without the mask, and then everyone that's like, is for masks and everything, and they really, they're like trust the science and everything, and they're really, trying to follow the rules and everything. They'll like go full ham on these people that don't wear it, and it's like they really like come after them for it. Like instead of like turning the other way and be like, whatever. People really care about this kind of thing, right? It's like it triggers like an emotional response.
Yeah.
So, and of course, it's part of the rules. So I'm not saying to disobey the law, but I'm saying like, there's a reason why we jump to such conclusions in our mind. Like we get triggered by it, right? Like there was a one video where a guy wore a mask, but it was
one of those masks that it's a mask of someone's face, like the bottom of someone's face, so it looks like they're not wearing a mask, and they're walking around in stores, and people who don't see that the fact that it's actually a mask, like confront them to say you need to put on a mask, but he actually is wearing one, and so it kind of makes them look dumb in a sense.
Yeah, some woman, some guy. Yeah, the guy was like, "I'm so sorry." And the woman was like, "Oh my god, you shouldn't be doing that." But
yeah,
like,
it's funny.
It's very easy to sort of get like develop an emotional response to these sort of things, and with everything that's going on in today's world, it's really easy to get emotional. A lot of people get angry very easily. We all know that one person that gets triggered so easily from like nothing. And we tend to stay away from those kind of people because they know they're a little unhinged, or they can be, right?
Yeah.
So we have in front of us a Psychology Today article that we're going to go over and talk about it. So,
okay, yeah. So we're just taking this excerpt right here from Psychology Today. It says, controversy over our response to COVID-19 has intensified as states have begun loosening the social distancing restrictions. In this context, the wearing of face masks has become one of the most contentious issues. For example, there was outrage at Vice President Mike Pence, who is now former vice president.
This is an older article, by the way.
This was an older article. You can see at the top it says May 6th. For choosing not to wear a mask when he visited hospital staff and a patient at the Mayo Clinic. Probably not the best idea. It does say that he later said that he made the wrong decision, but in his mind he made the decision he wanted to make, but he was trying to play face. So that's neither here nor there. That's not where we're going. Anger has also filled online bulletin boards here in the suburbs of Philly, with people posting rage-filled comments about neighbors not wearing masks in public. Grocery store employees have been verbally assaulted for asking shoppers to wear masks, and a man at a Dollar Tree store wiped his face on an employee's shirt when she asked him to wear a mask, and there has been at least one mask-related murder.
Okay, so let's dissect this a little bit. So as we said before, there's like two sides of the coin, right? There's the people that don't want to wear the mask and will fight you tooth and nail because they don't want to, and then there's the people who will fight you to wear a mask.
Yeah.
So we're using sort of the binary extremes in this situation, but like you get both sides, right? The person who doesn't want to wear it, and sure you can call him, oh, he's a Trump supporter, like okay, whatever. I don't even know if that would be useful to even say today because that makes no sense. He's not the president anymore.
Yeah, no.
But like, there's the people who don't want to wear it, and there's people who do, and then there's the shaming that goes back and forth from both sides. So like, people get that feeling, that urge to criticize someone who they think is in the wrong because they don't trust science and they don't wear a mask. They choose not to, and then you have the people who don't wear the mask, and they go hard on these people who choose to wear a mask, and that's a bad decision as well because they let their emotional core get disturbed by the fact that someone wants to wear a mask and feels protected by it. Fine, let them do it. On this channel, we promote more like individualism. So people should do what they want and live the way they want, and they should make the rules for their own life. And part of that is being able to make decisions on your own terms of how you want to live your life. So let's say you live in Florida, which is right now is not mask mandated. You can choose to go into a grocery store that doesn't make you wear a mask, or you can choose to go into a grocery store that that you don't have to.
Yeah, they don't care if you don't wear a mask.
You have the power to make that decision technically if you're in a state because right now, at this recording, a lot of states are dropping the mask mandate. So technically, there's a lot of businesses that are okay with it, and then there's some not. So you can have that. You have that freedom of choice to go to a place that doesn't have to wear it. But if you're in certain states,
if there's a store that requires you can't get mad at them for that they're telling you to put on a mask. Like if you know quite well that this store wants you to be wearing a mask, but there's a store not too far that doesn't care if you're not wearing one, you should not try to go into that store not wearing a mask. If they require you to, you should just go to that other one. It doesn't matter if it's about convenience or not. It's a matter of just dealing with less of the of the bullshit. Let's just say it how it is. You walk into that store, right, that requires you to wear a mask and you don't want to wear it. Then all the employees are going to be telling you to leave. And why do you want to deal with that, right?
Yeah, you're just starting.
That is already going to increase your emotion. It's just going to increase the your emotions, and it's gonna make you go crazy. So why even bother going there? Save you the peace and just have some peace and go to the other store that doesn't care if you're not wearing a mask and get what you need to get done and go.
Yeah, you can't let this kind of stuff bother you. I mean, certain states like you have to wear a mask anywhere you go. Well, I mean, not outside really. I don't think so. I mean, if you really want to, but you can't exactly. You should not let other people's actions dictate your emotions.
Yeah.
So like if you're walking, let's say you're at a park or something and you see someone wearing a mask, you're just like, "Oh, you're an idiot," and you start cursing them out. Like that's not helping you like become a better person, right? That's a bad mindset to have. Instead, you should accept that people are going to do what they want to do regardless. Yeah. And you have to remember this key fact that you cannot control what others do. You can only control what you do. The truth about power is that it's not the amount of control that you have others. It's the amount of control that you have over yourself. Yeah. And you have to realize that you need to calm down sometimes and take a deep breath and realize that you cannot force people to do certain things. They're going to do it regardless. Now, some people you could say are ill-informed, they don't trust science, or they're too much into whatever the CDC says, or who cares. It's not about that. Everyone has their own specific belief on how they choose to handle situations, and you have your own too. So simply just do what you want. If you want to wear one, wear it. If you don't. But to murder someone or to just insult people who decide or not decide to, that's a wrong decision. And if you really believe in the masks and everything, and you see someone not wearing one, you're also wrong, I think, for actually coming at them, especially at least if you're outside somewhere. Like, okay, if someone's not following the rules in an indoor place, maybe you say something polite, but you don't have to go screaming at them like, oh, why you not have a mask on? Because I've seen that too.
Yeah.
That's a bad. You're letting yourself go all over the place and losing your emotional control just because someone else does something. If anything, if you disagree with something someone says, you should say it at least in a polite manner. You should not lose your crap.
Yeah.
Like, hey man, I just don't like the fact that you're not wearing a mask right now, and you shouldn't. Maybe you should be. So it would probably just be easier for everyone else if you just wore it, And if you say it in a nice, calm way, people are more likely to comply anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas if you go up to them, you're a moron. You just like getting super angry.
Leave. I don't want you here.
Yeah, like what this is talking about. So, anger, people just getting super angry for other people's actions and things that they can't control. So you have to understand you cannot control others. You can only control what you do.
Yeah, exactly. And going back to what you were saying about being inside and stuff. So if a store, like I was saying earlier, if a store requires you to, it is now their policy, and so the employees now have the right to tell you to not shop at that store if you're not wearing a mask. Now, clearly, some people that work at said store could also not care about the mask policy at all and let you shop willy-nilly, and that might also conflict between employees, and that's a different story. But if a store is mandating a mask and you come in without one and the employee asks you politely to leave because you're not wearing one or asks you to put one on, there's no reason to fight. Now, I deal with this a lot because I work in a convenience store. I work inside. And because of New Jersey, how it is right now as of recording this video, we still have a mask mandate for being inside of stores or being inside in general. That's not your house, by the way. That'd be awful. And so, when people come into my store and I ask them to put it on, and if they give me any sass back, this is what I always say, and I feel like it works in this situation, and I always try to be as calm as possible when I say it. I tell them that coming into the store is like coming into my house, because I'm the one that's overtly like controlling what happens in the store. I'm the manager of the store. I need to, control any situation. And you coming into my store without a mask is like coming into my house and not following my rules. And I feel like, and you, by doing that, is disrespectful, and by you disrespecting my rules is disrespecting me, and I don't appreciate this happening. So I need you to either politely follow my rules or to leave. And I leave it at that, and I don't say any more, don't say any less, and I leave it at that. Let them say what they need to say, and I just don't serve them, or they put it on, they understand. Because if you talk logically and you talk reasonably and calmly, so calmly is the most important part, they either something will trigger where they're like, oh shit, yeah, I should do that, sorry, or be like, all right, fine, I'm gonna go somewhere else, and they leave. Or you get the really emotional people that go crazy. I got a lot of those, but that's neither here nor there. Be logical, be reasonable about these things, because a lot of people, they can't help themselves but to be emotional and just use their emotions to fill them with anger and rage. Just calm down, take a breath.
You have to keep in mind there's also we feel some kind of righteousness when we tell someone to put a mask on. Unfortunately, very unfortunately, and I've seen this happen so many times. Like, people really, I think there's something inside of us that we want to inflict some like authority on someone, especially like if you live in in your life, if you don't live in a life where you control a lot of things in your life, and maybe you feel kind of helpless. If you have an option to tell someone to put on a mask when you think, keyword is think, they should be wearing one, and you say, "Sir, where's your mask?" And it's like, I don't need to have one on, and the person will be like, well, I think it's, CDC guidelines say you should always have one on whenever you're outside or whatever the law may be at the time. And the person says, well, I don't feel like I should have to wear it. And they're like, what are you talking about? You're endangering all of our lives. And see, it's that kind of emotionalism, because you feel some kind of righteousness to tell someone else to follow the rules or to put on a mask or something. And that is sort of like a dopamine hit, because, you get a pleasure from having someone do what you say. It's like you feel like you're holding up the rule, holding up the law, right? Compared to someone also who could be on the other side, someone who's not wearing a mask could just go up to someone who is and be like, you're an idiot, you're being an idiot right now because you're wearing a mask when it's not needed. And the person would be like, well, it makes me feel safe. And the guy would be like, well, you're dumb for that. And like it'll just talk crap for like no reason, right? And he's now he's antagonizing the other person. So both scenarios are wrong. And people are going to do what they do regardless. I mean, until, you can't make up people's minds for them, but you can show some facts and statistics, and you can put all these logical things. But to come at someone, for what you believe in, in a hostile way, it's not the right way to go about things, and that is not what someone with an all gains mindset would do.
Exactly.
So this part of the article is pandemic fear. Mike will read it off.
Yeah, so it says, finally, fear has spread around the globe along with the virus. The rising number of cases and deaths has put people on edge as they worry about their own health and that of their loved ones. Sorry. Those who work in healthcare or whose family members may feel the fear more acutely. The elderly and other groups at greater risk for a poor outcome with the virus also tend to be more concerned about it. At the same time, COVID-19 has had alarming effects on the economy. Millions of people are out of work, and many businesses are likely to fail. Countless people that worried about their ability to survive. How will they afford food and pay their rent or mortgage, not to mention their health care? In light of these anxieties, masks may trigger our fear that someone is trying to block our pursuit of happiness, either by not wearing a mask and threatening our life, or by making us wear masks, taking away our liberty. Some people also don't like the mask because they panic when wearing one due to claustrophobia or feeling like it's hard to breathe. Others find masks intolerable because of conditions like autism spectrum disorder and sensory processing issues.
Okay, so basically there is a fear, and fear is also an emotion, that really makes things complicated, or it can at least, because if you're very afraid of this virus and you take it extremely seriously, and you think the only way that you could be safe and save your loved ones is by wearing this mask, and then someone's coming and saying, "Oh, it's you don't need it, it's pointless, it doesn't work," you're gonna have an emotional response to that, and you're most likely gonna come at that person, not remembering that most likely, like 99% of the time, if you try to convince something of someone who has a certain belief set, you're not going to get through to them, and you're just gonna explode and make yourself look dumb, because you're not going to change the other person's point of view. If they're against masks already, most likely they're not going to change their mind, because that's sort of how their mind is.
Yeah.
And it could be the exact opposite. The person who believes in the masks will most likely not change their mind as well. Although I have seen some people who used to be a little more frightful about it change their minds over time, just because of the time. It's been more than a year, and people have just had enough at this point, so they're just like, okay, whatever, so
Yeah.
But that's a time thing. That's it's a little more different than the emotional side of things. But fear is really it also connects to anger. Fear could lead to anger could lead to hate. You can end up hating others because of your point of view, and anger can be correlated with fear.
Exactly. And the thing is someone could be walking down the street and they could be wearing a mask, and someone that's walking towards them could be not wearing a mask, and then they have this sort of fear oh no, if he has it, then and I can get it, and then I can give it to my loved ones who might die, and I don't want them to die, and they'll have all these types of anxieties. And people can do what they want. If you fear that that this person that's walking down the street it's not wearing a mask, which he has all the right to. He has all the right to not wear one. You could move out of the way and be as far away from him or her as possible, because if you fear that you might get it and you might give it to a loved one or someone that that is either really old, really sick, or really obese or fat, or have these other types of conditions. If you fear for them, then you should be moving out of the way. You should be, trying to get out of the way because of that fear. But you shouldn't be using that fear, turning it to anger and yelling at the person who's walking down the street because he has all the right to not wear a mask, and tell them that they're wrong and that they should be wearing one, and because, of whatever, because they don't know who you are. These people, the thing is that, me, I don't know who you are, and I don't know what you deal with, and you don't know what I deal with, right? So you can't yell at me for something that I don't even know about in a life that you live, and you can't do the same to me because you don't know, you know? But you need to be respectful about it. If you try to be as respectful as possible and reasonable as possible, then there can be some sort of, compromise. You walk over there, I walk over here, we just pass each other real quick. That's it. We're done in that specific situation. Sometimes it's not as easy as that, but, I'm trying to make an easy point there.
Yeah, but the main message of this video, guys, is that you cannot control what others do. You can only control your own actions.
And you must control your emotions as well.
Yeah, people today really need to practice on controlling themselves a little bit more, because there's a lot of outrage, especially on Twitter or social media. People always going on against other people and insulting people on the internet because of their beliefs. It's, especially when you're in person, and let's just say you're in a grocery store, it's best to just follow the rules, for at least for now. And just wear it if you have to. If you have the option to go to a grocery store or something where you don't have to wear it, then do that. If you have the option, look at your options in life, find a solution to that. But coming after others for what they believe and what they choose to do with their life is not the best course of action. It's only going to hurt you in the long run. So, guys, you want to live the life that way you want, and you don't have to try to put others down, even though you may feel like you're fighting for justice, right? It's still not the best action to improve yourself. Being emotionally in control is always a lot better than being out of control, because you can make a lot more benefit to your life by being in control of what you do compared to trying to control what others do, which mostly just never works and should not be. You should not do that. So that's it for this video. If you guys like it, hit the like button, all right, and hit the subscribe button and hit the little notification bell so you can see every time that we post a video. And you can also check out allgainsapparel.com for cool merchandise for the gym, because we all got to get those gains out here. So
Summer's coming.
with that said, we'll see you in the next video.